Hi again, it's Zachary Griggs, and I'm going to take you through the what we call setup wizards within DataBlend. So if I go back to my dashboard here, you'll see I have quite a few different workflows, and the workflows represent different integrations, different automation that we're using in the tool. And once set up, they work really well. The DataBlend team, as well as our partners, can work with you to set these up, and we have customers as well that set them up themselves. Now, what goes into that process? There'll be some configuration, some design, and some building each of those out. But what we wanted to also do was give an option for the ability to use these setup wizards to create a successful integration in a matter of minutes, and hopefully going through a UI, different screens that ask questions that are, easy to follow through and come up with what is needed for that integration. So if I go into this in my data blend, the first thing I need to do is connect to one of these systems. So today, what I'm going to do is showcase HubSpot and Sage Intacct. This is just one example of wizards. There are others that exist besides those systems. This is just one that we developed in the last year or so and has had a significant amount of popularity. So once I go to my credential, I can type in HubSpot. And once I put that in, I can say HubSpot demo. And I'm going to say this is related to just DataBlend and hit save. Once I do that over here, I have this button to hit connect to HubSpot, which I can click. Once I click that, it's going to then prompt me here to say which system do I want to connect to. In this case, it's going to be our sandbox environment. And then it's going to approve that app, which I would have already done. And so therefore, there's no action that I need to take there. It's going to remember that I already approved it. I have now successfully connected my credentials. All I needed to be was a HubSpot user with admin access, and then the system does the rest. So the whole process, 30 seconds at most to go through and get that connection. But once you have your credentials set up, the next thing you can do is go to our automate section and then wizard. Once you're in Wizard, you can see here's a few different examples. We're going to choose HubSpot, and our target is Intacct. I then get to pick what are the different lists or transactions that I want to keep in sync between the systems. You can run through each of these multiple times, many times. You could do more than one of these. So it's really up to you how you want to use these. Each time you do it, you're creating this new integration. So if you change your mind on a certain setting and you want to go back, you just run through it again and not a problem. But for now, let's go through and take a look at what the customers look like. So once I do that, it's going to give me these 5 steps. I'll click next. You have the ability here to now choose your credential. You can see I've created that demo one a few times. I'm going to choose HubSpot. Once I've connected, I now have 188 different fields. This is reading all the properties that exist in my HubSpot instance. And so if you connect to your HubSpot instance, you might then see 200, 150, whatever number of properties exist is going to show up for you. If you added custom ones, they're going to be on this list too. On the right side are the ones that we've assumed you would want on your customer. And so we put it as a default. You don't need to, you can remove them or you can add to the list. But we have figured that you probably want an address and to know what city that's in and their website, their zip code, things like that. But if you wanted to go in and put in a description field, for instance, you would simply find the field, select it, move it to the right. Once it's on the right side, it's going to be available to you to now map between the systems. So I'm going to go to the next step, which is where I do the mapping. The left side is HubSpot, the right side is Intacct. And now you'll see it's matched up because of those assumptions we made. Address 1 is address, city, and so on. But down here, my description's blank. Where do I want my description to go in Intacct? I can click this drop down and I can choose. These are all the fields that are available in Intacct. I'm going to choose comments. Once I do that, I've now said that my description field of HubSpot on the company page is going to go to my comments on my customer within Intacct. If you wanted to put any type of logic in here, you can in the SQL. We're not going to go through that today, but you can in that little FX. Think of it like Excel formulas, where you might do a concatenation, a trim, left, take the first 3 digits of something for an ID. All of those types of functions would be accomplished through this middle column, this little FX. All right, we're going to keep it simple for today, though. We're just going to do a mapping from A to B, from HubSpot to Intacct. Next, I'm going to go to the credential page for Intacct. This is where I would have already set up this credential. We use web service users. You can use business users if you wanted to as well, but web service users is generally how we connect. Once that connection is established, you would do the same thing as HubSpot. You'd select it, and then you go to the final step, review all the work we've done. So in that minute, we've created about 12 different steps in the integration, but we've created a successful integration from start to finish. And I'm going to hit save, and now it's created it for me. I'm going to change the name slightly. I like to put a bunch of zeros so it shows up at the top. I'm going to favorite it so it's right there front and center for me. And I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to choose to put it on a schedule. Let's have it run every day at the same time. I want this to run at, let's say, 4 a.m. And now I've successfully favorited my workflow. I'm going to put that as running as me. I'm going to hit save and go back to the dashboard. You'll see here's my workflow. It's available to me to run. It's now down here in my schedule as well. And that whole process took only a minute or two to go through. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like for the others, if I go into the wizard, I'm going to choose this. Let's use the item one, the products. It's a fairly popular one. I'm going to go through the steps. At this stage, it's all the same. It's going to pull from a different table, though. You can see it's only 60 fields because it's going to pull from my products. And the only field that I'm pulling in is name. I'm going to keep it simple on the items. If you wanted to add in other fields, you could, though. Here, it's going to map a few important things, and I'm going to send things in as non-inventory as well. But in here, you can see it's going to match existing record numbers if they exist, ID, name, and so on. And then I'm going to go to the next page. Again, choose my intact credential, and I'm going to build this out. Again, 12 steps, a bunch of check marks, and we're going to do the same thing. This one we're not going to schedule, but I'm just going to give it a zeros at the front, save that, and then once I'm done, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. So here's my two workflows. We created them a couple minutes. Really straightforward to go through. The transactions, there's a couple other settings because obviously transactions is more nuance to it, more things it needs to know, but very similar, the look and feel as you're seeing. So let's go make sure it works. So if I go into the products, and you can see here I have these like medium blue widgets. Let's go in and call these medium pink widgets. Once I do that, it's going to save in my HubSpot system. Let's go back to my dashboard and let me close that tab. It's actually this one here. Here's our items. We're going to hit run. Once I hit run, this is going to go collect those products from HubSpot. That change I just made is available. It's going to then recognize that it changed from was a blue to pink now. And so it's going to update intact to have my new item, my new product available for me. This could be done on a schedule at whatever frequency makes sense for you, but you also have the ability to run it ad hoc, just like I did. And you can see it took about 20 seconds because it's a relatively short list. But if I go in here, let's hit enter and let's see. There it is, medium pink widgets. So it passed through, created my product. So as you can see, we created that successful integration in just a few minutes. And like I said, you can run through it multiple times. You can create all the wizards, right? If you want to also do the transactions, you also want to do contacts, not a problem. You can use everything that's on that list as well as the other combinations of systems that exist. This is just an example of where DataBlend spends a lot of our time and effort listening to our customers, to our partners, to our implementers, the people that use the tool every day to find ways to make it easier and easier to get our customers, our new customers set up, as well as our existing customers getting set up with new use cases. And we try to make that as painless as possible. If you've worked with integrations before, they can be very technical, very difficult, labor intensive to get set up. We try to break that mold and give you that really the flexibility where you see that we went through that whole process. At no point were we doing any type of coding or scripting. We really just kept it simple, a couple drop downs, point and click, a true low code, no code type of approach to integrations. And a big part of being able to do that is our focus on the Office of Accounting and Finance, understanding what goes into the quote to cash process in this example, what needs to connect and talk to each other between those systems. But that is my demo for today. Thank you.